Hi, my name is Christina, and welcome to the Whimsy Channel. I'm so excited that you're here. I'm so excited that you found me. I am here to teach you all about whimsy. You might be thinking, why, what the heck? What is this channel? I don't understand. And that's okay because up until a few years ago, I didn't realize how deeply whimsy impacted my own life and how deeply I needed it. And I want to teach you all the things that I've learned about it. Let's go back to basics first. When you think of whimsy, the first thing that comes to mind might be the classical definition, which is I decided to go on a trip on a whim, or I bought those beautiful rainbow shoes on a whim. Or you might be thinking that when you walk into a birthday party and you go, oh, it's decorated very whimsically in here. Most people can identify whimsy, but the harder part is defining it. I mean, the dictionary has a definition, but I would say most of the time if you say, okay, person, go make a whimsical thing, you're like, are there like fairies or something? And there might be, but I am here to give you parameters on what whimsy actually is. So, first, a little backstory about me. From the time when I was very young, I wanted a boyfriend. I wanted a boyfriend, and then I wanted a husband, and I was kind of obsessed with romance, and I really wanted to be in a relationship. That drive actually ended up getting me into some trouble because essentially, I was looking outside of myself for some person to make me happy, which is a lot of pressure to put on anybody. I would look to men for this, and I recognized that by my early 30s, this wasn't really working. I was getting into a lot of trouble with guys who didn't always have my best interest at heart. So, I knew I needed to change. I got into counseling, I read self-help books, I went to recovery, I did all the things that I needed to do to get mentally healthy, which was really important, very important step. But at the end of that, I I I felt a little lonely. Maybe not lonely, but just I didn't know what my next steps were. What was I going to do now? I didn't know what to turn to. And so I sat down and I thought I need to get to the bottom of whatever it was I really was looking for in the men so that I can maybe separate the two things. And as I sat there and I thought about all the qualities that I enjoyed about the men I was attracted to, so many of them offered me things like fun, excitement, entertainment, going on adventures, looking at the world in ways that I had never dreamed. And I was like, okay, cool. What does that mean? What were my favorite parts about that whole process of looking for love? And it actually, the word that popped into my head was whimsy. And I recognized later that the romantic relationships were a completely different thing. But my heart truly was hungry for whimsy. It didn't have anything to do with the love or the physical attraction. That was kind of a separate thing. But my heart was hungry for something deeper, something more beautiful than what I could have ever dreamed. So the word that kept coming to me was whimsy, and I thought, oh, that's so weird. I don't know what to do with that information. So I sat down and started thinking a little bit more, and I thought, okay, if I want to bring more of this into my life, if I want to be in control of it, I need to understand what it is and how it works. So what I ended up doing was I thought, what does whimsy have to have for it to be whimsical? And amazingly, I came up with 3 rules. There was only 3. I was like, is that right? I don't know. That seems very, but yeah, just 3. So here are the 3 rules. 1, it has to be surprising or out of the ordinary. 2, it has to be safe for yourself and other people. And 3, it has to be delightful. And I came to that conclusion by examining lots of different whimsical things I would consider whimsical. So let's just take an example. Let's think about a garden. A lot of people are very comfortable with whimsy in their gardens. When you think of whimsy, you often think of, oh, they had gnomes, or they had sculptures that caught the wind and were beautiful wind sculptures. But let's take a chair that you say you're walking along in the middle of a beautiful garden and you spot a chair where somebody has repurposed it and now there are flowers growing out from where the seat used to be. And so number 1, that's surprising. You wouldn't normally see a chair in that context. You normally see it at a table or a building or your room. You wouldn't think of it as having flowers growing out of the seat and seeing it in the middle of a garden. So 1, surprising or out of the ordinary. 2, it has to be safe. Safe doesn't mean boring, and I'll go into that in a whole other video, but it does mean that it has to be mentally and physically safe for yourself and everyone else around you. It just means that it can't be emotionally or physically damaging. So if you're seeing the chair in the garden, you're not worried that the chair is going to attack you, hopefully. But sitting there in the garden, it is safe. All good. And number 3, it has to be delightful. I would find a chair with flowers on it in a garden very delightful. Now, that doesn't mean that everybody will think that that is delightful. Some people might think it's a nice, or maybe think that it looks like it should be thrown away. But whimsy is on a scale, and whimsy can be small or big, and everybody sees it differently. And that's okay. That's a good thing, because that means that we learn more about the way other people see things in the world. So those are the 3 rules of whimsy. And the more I thought about it, there needed to be something else as a basis for all of this, because it was so big, and as I realized it was just getting bigger and bigger, and I was like, where is the force? Where is the power of whimsy coming from? And it's actually very simple. The power of whimsy begins and ends with love. So whether that is enjoying whimsy or giving it away, it's got to be love for yourself and love for everybody else. Whimsy should never hurt anyone. It should never make anybody uncomfortable. So, for example, if you get your wallet stolen, that would break the rules of whimsy. It might be out of the ordinary or surprising, but it wouldn't be safe and it wouldn't be delightful, right? Or let's look at cliff diving. Cliff diving would probably not be underneath the umbrella of whimsy, only because unless you did 1,000 things to make it super safe, it probably wouldn't be safe, which could put your own life in danger, which is not loving to you or those who you love. Although it might be delightful and out of the ordinary, not safe, breaking whimsy's rules, so that would be more of a thrill. Or if you think about watching television, television is great. I love watching TV. But it's not, most people watch a lot of TV, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary. It might be safe or delightful, but not out of the ordinary. Do you see where all of this is going? For something to be whimsical, it just has to follow all of these 3 rules. So those were all the things that I discovered about whimsy. And I recognized that it wasn't just about making my life less boring. It was actually about imbuing more life into my life. And when I would get stuck, because I tend to get stuck a lot, mentally, and I can get very melancholy about things. Whimsy is an amazing place to escape to because it's always there for us. It's always waiting for us. You can always come back to it. You're never so far away from whimsy that you can't come back and enjoy it another day. I'm gonna go over all those things in lots more videos, and I really hope you come along and join me as I'm learning, as I'm continuing to learn too, on how to do this. I just think that the world is, come on, it's hard. Like, we all know this. It's no surprise. But what if we could learn? Well, what if we could truly learn how to make it a little bit better? Real ways, real concrete ways to make others joyful, make ourselves joyful. And I think that whimsy has the power to do that. I hope you come back. I hope that you will join me, subscribe, and yeah, I think we're gonna have a lot of fun. So I hope you have a whimsical day, and yeah, I look forward to seeing you soon.